Hello, beautifuls, and welcome to Madison Reed's Hair Color House Party. We are live from our bathrooms, from our kitchens, from all over the US, coming together as a community and coloring our hair together. So exciting. We know that for many of you, you may be coloring your hair for the first time and you may have some anxiety about doing that. But we are here to tell you, you can do this and we've got you. As I look around, I see all of your beautiful faces. I am sure many of you have navigated careers, you have raised families, and I'm sure you've also navigated some of the challenges that we're all recently experiencing. And if you can handle those things, let me tell you, you can color your own hair. We have gotten so much demand for a way to ask questions, and we thought this would be a fun way for all of us to learn together. And it's not only fun for us, it has purpose. For every person who's in attendance today, we are going to be donating $1 to an organization called Direct Relief. Maybe you've heard of it. It's to help frontline workers, which are in much need of help right now and are very much our heroes at this time. We are also streaming this house party on Facebook Live so that more people can learn from us. And we are doing a giveaway. At the end of this show, we will be selecting one lucky winner and they will be receiving a free hair color kit and gloss from us. So stay tuned at the end and I will be announcing the winner. Now, from the very beginning, Madison Reed has been about our colorists. 60% of our employees are colorists, and they are by far the backbone, the heart, and the expertise of this company. And I am so excited to tell you that today we have two of our very best expert colorists to teach us today about coloring our hair. And we also have an amazing editorial director. Who knew? That's also going to be joining us as she is an expert colorer as well. So I'd love to introduce you to our team today. First up, we have Susan.
Hi, everyone. A big hello from Texas.
Welcome, Susan. Susan has, wait for it, over 25 years of hair coloring experience. And that means she started coloring people's hair when she was 5 years old. And she's not only an expert colorist. A fun fact about Susan is that she is actually a formulator. She is the genius behind the formulas that make up our 55 shades of gorgeous hair color. So we are so fortunate to have Susan. Next up is Siobhan.
Hey everyone, welcome.
Siobhan has been a colorist for 17 years. And a fun fact about Siobhan is that we call her our colorist. And what that means is that Siobhan actually trains colorists that join Madison Reed on how Madison Reed hair color works and how to apply it and how to make clients happy with our color. So we are so fortunate to have Siobhan with us today. And last but not least, the star of the show today, Susanna.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
Susanna is the editorial director of Madison Reed, and what that means is she is a master with words. She is the champion and keeper of the Madison Reed story and tells it to all of you every day via emails, via all sorts of communication. And the fun fact about Susanna is that she's not only the editorial director of Madison Reed, she has been coloring her hair since the age of 13. She's an at-home colorer. And she's actually been using Madison Reed for the last 5 years. She started using Madison Reed before she joined us as an employee. So Susanna is a very experienced at-home hair colorer, and we are just so happy to have her with us today. She's going to be touching up her roots to a beautiful chocolate brunette and then using gloss for high shine on her mid-lengths and ends. And with that, I will hand it over to Siobhan for some housekeeping.
Perfect. Thanks, Heidi. So I'm really excited for tonight. I see some faces that I think are repeat folks that have been with us before. So welcome back. And some new people, Janine, Annette, Margaret. Hi. Hi. So here's how it works. We're going to do a demo for you. Susanna's going to take us through how to color her roots and do gloss. So you're going to see her do this sort of model application. But while that's happening, we love to do live Q&A with you. So we want this to feel like a hangout with friends who are colorists, where you can give us your questions and we'll answer some on air. And then at the end, the questions that we don't get to, there's going to be a card that goes up with an email address. That email address comes directly to me. So if you've got a question about your personal color match or something going on with your hair, if you don't get your question answered live during this segment, email us at the end and you'll be put in touch with me and I'll do a consultation with you. What we do ask is, since we have a lot more of you than there are us to answer questions, if you could try to whittle down your questions to your one biggest question, because we can only take one question per person. So if you have kind of that three-pronged question, just try to think of the one you want answered here on air. We'll try to get to that one, and then the other ones we'll answer via email at the end. Does that sound fair? Okay, beautiful. And Susan is going to tell us how to get in line to answer a question.
Absolutely. So first of all, what we need to do is to make sure that we know your name. So in order to do that, what you'll need to do is go up to your, for those of you who are not familiar with Zoom, go to your little square and you'll see that it will come up, it'll say mute, and then there's three little dots. Click on the little dots and then go ahead and rename yourself. So what we'd like to do is to be able to call on you by name. And we'd like to be able to communicate with you, obviously, if we need to by email. So please go ahead and put your first name and your last name. Some of you might be up as iPhone or iPad or whatever. So for Zoom purposes, we'd like to know who you are. And then, because what you need to ask a question, go down to the bottom of the screen, you'll see participants. So if you click on that, and then click on raise hand. And what we'll do is call on you in turn. So the first person to put their hand up will be the first person that gets their question answered. We'll mute all of you, and then when we come to ask for your question, we'll unmute you, and then we'll be able to hear what you've got to say. And I can see some marvelous heads of hair here. So I can see Annette, you've got a lovely red head. Margaret, nice and long. Regina, that's a lovely head of hair. And trust me, I'm an expert. So I know that you're all dying to understand how we're going to get on with doing this. So Susanna, let's get to you as quickly as possible, because I know you've got something very interesting to tell us about today.
I assume you're talking about the perfect pair, which I am so happy to be coloring my hair with today. So we call it the perfect pair because it means it's permanent color on your roots to cover up the grays, and then a gloss for your mid-lengths and ends, and it sort of just makes it shiny and boosts the color that you have a little bit. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, and I'm so excited. I don't know about the rest of you, but this year has been a handful. So I've had grays for the last 5-7 years, but this year my grays are multiplying like wildfire. It's crazy. Anecdotally, I'm talking to my friends and we're all experiencing the same thing. The grays are out of control. So yes, I'm so excited to be showing you guys the perfect pair, because it's the perfect thing to color your hair, your grays, and then get on your mid-lengths and ends. I am going to be using Umbria Light Brown is my color that I use. And then today for gloss, I'm going to be using Crema. I've used other shades in the past. I've used Miele, a lot of different ones, Espresso. But I'm using Crema because my hair as a brunette, I tend to get really brassy with time. So my hair tends to get really warm and can just look a little bit more red than I want it to, or redder than I want it to. So Crema can sort of help neutralize that redness a bit and still give me the shine and the multidimensionality that I'm really looking for in my hair color. So that's why I chose Crema. And actually that's why Siobhan told me to use Crema. It helps to work with some master colorists. So I know a lot of you are probably nervous if you're first time colorers. Like Heidi said in my introduction, I have been coloring my hair since I was 13, but that certainly doesn't mean I don't get nervous. I still get nervous when I color my hair. And I think that just means that you want to do a good job. And I know you all want to do a good job. You want gorgeous results. And that's why you're here. And we're happy to show you. It's really easy. If you can cook a meal, you can absolutely color your hair. You know what? Scrap that. Even if you can't cook a meal, because I don't know really how to cook, and I can still color my hair. It's actually can be really easy. So do you want me just to get right into it?
Yeah, but first, can you do us a little favor? Can we take a look at your before? Will you just step forward and kind of show us what the gray situation is in there?
Can you see those?
A little bit more to your right, kind of. Yes, there you go. Okay, that's looking good. So you're at about 30% gray right now, Susanna, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a good view. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. There's all of a sudden there's like stuff right here I didn't used to have. So let's color those up.
Do you get more resistant around the hairline and kind of in the temples, or is it even all over?
My trouble spot has always been in the crown of my head, and that's where I've always gotten them. And it's very recent that I'm noticing them in my temples. So
Okay.
I don't know yet if the temples are resistant, but definitely in the crown. I've always had trouble coloring my hair, which is one of the reasons why I am using this Umbria, because I believe, and you can speak to it, I mean, you're the master, but I believe it's actually formulated for resistant grays.
Yes,
So it gives
that is
great
maximum
coverage.
shade. Yep. Okay, show us how it's done.
All right, so before I do it, I'm a Virgo, so I like to be pretty methodical, even though I'm not a perfectionist when it comes to coloring my hair, you will see. So I like to open everything up and sort of lay it all out, like it's my, laying out all your ingredients before you cook your meal. And it helps to keep your area clean, just to lay everything out and have it all ready for you. Most of you will be coloring in your bathroom, so you can lay out a towel or something to keep your countertop clean. Sometimes I actually unfold the directions, the instructions, and I lay those out, and I use that as sort of my placemat to put all of my things on. So I am just opening up all of my stuff.
And you can do too, another thing that we'll do is like parchment paper or a piece of foil, whatever you have around, if you want to just, we kind of equate this to when you watch a cooking show and they have that mise en place, like all the little individual bowls that are all cut up and so professional looking that just kind of keep your mind organized while you're doing what you need to do. This is the hair color equivalent to that. And giving all your little packets a little rip before you have gloved hands and color all on your fingers. That's another pro tip for sanity there.
That is a great pro tip, but also one of the things I love about Madison Reed gloves is that they fit. They're not like a lot of other gloves you get, and it's like putting on a plastic bag and you try to do things and they just pull off. So these are actually much more preferable for that reason. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my conditioning color activator. And then I'm going to open up my color, puncture it, and then squeeze it in. And here's another thing about me. I actually prefer to use the bottle when I'm applying my color. A lot of people like to use the bottle. A lot of other people like to use the bowl and brush. I've done both just because I like to try everything. I prefer the bottle because it's easier for me to section my hair and to just be more methodical when I'm putting it on with the bottle tip. But I've certainly used the brush and it's really easy. I can show you guys both ways if you'd like once I get into it.
That's perfect.
One thing about using the bowl and brush that actually is really fun is it makes you feel like a colorist. You can play colorist at home, which I do.
Well, and I think there's certain times when a bowl and brush is useful. If you're a serial colorist, which I am, and you have a small amount of regrowth, it's really useful to have that bowl and brush because it helps you with the precision. But I think for most people, the bottle is great because it's just so easy to use it to section it and apply with just one tool. So sometimes it's difficult to use both.
So if you're using the applicator bottle, you just put it in here and shake. If you're using the bowl and brush, you can actually squeeze both pieces into this bowl and then mix it like this. Or you can just mix it in the applicator bottle and then squeeze it into the bowl, whatever you're more comfortable with. And
while Susanna's mixing, just one quick reminder, if you're joining us a couple minutes in, if you want to ask a question during our live Q&A segments, I know we already have a queue of people waiting to ask questions. How we do that is by clicking on the participants button at the bottom of the screen, and then you click raise hand. And we answer those in order that they come in. So we usually start answering questions after Susanna's applied a couple sections. We'll start getting to the Q&A. And again, if you don't get your question answered here live, we're going to give you an email address at the very end. Come straight to me, and then we'll be having a consult back and forth. So we'll definitely get to questions even if they're not live.
So one of the first things you want to do is Madison Reed includes barrier cream with our color. So this is just to apply along your hairline. Don't get it on your hair because that'll block the color from really working. You want to put it on your skin so that you don't stain your skin. And again, this is not really a precision job. You just want to get it around your skin. You can put it on the tops of your ears as well.
The reason, that barrier cream is super effective blocking color from staining your skin. It will also block the hair from the color staining your hair, which is what we don't want. So especially if you have little baby fine hairs around the hairline. Some of us have, the hair is finer around the hairline, softer, but you'll notice that the grays there seem harder to cover. So just be mindful to keep the barrier cream just off the hairline and only on the skin in those areas. Very good, Susanna, that looks beautiful.
It's really daunting coloring your hair in front of somebody, or a lot of people, two people that are master colorists. They've been doing this for years. It's kind of intimidating, but let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to start coloring. So like I said, I use the bottle tip to section. And here's another weird thing about how I apply color is a lot of places and our instructions also say to section your hair. So to section your hair, you put it into 4 sections. And then, in the back as well. I tend not to do that because I have a lot of hair, and it just helps me to start at my part line where I see the most grays. And then you'll see I sort of flip, and I use that as a sectioning tool. Really do what works for you. People with shorter hair might have harder time sectioning. So whatever really works for you. I will go through and show you how I do it, and then I'll show you how I do the back as well. So this is my non-sectioning way.
Well, and I think the thing to note as well is that when you're applying the color, once the color's on your hair, it makes it much easier to kind of manipulate. So if you are having trouble trying to do the sectioning, especially if your hair is quite clean and it's slippy, this can be a great way to start. Just start at the parting and dive right in.
And that's actually a great point, because I know a lot of people wonder if they should wash their hair before they color, if they should be coloring dirty hair. And I believe the line we give is 2-day-old hair is best, but try not to have a lot of styling products on it because that could also block the color.
Yeah, very good, Susanna. Spoken like an actual colorist. See, you're picking up this. You got it. You're almost a master colorist yourself.
I just write like one.
So I want to point out what Susanna's doing here. So she's actually using the nozzle. Okay, the nozzle of the bottle is a non-drip nozzle. When it's turned upside down how she has it, it's not going to get all over the place. The product will only come out when she squeezes it. So she can use it to part in between applying. And then the other thing that I want you all to know is she's using straight lines from the hairline back, and those are about 1/4 inch in size. So you should almost be able to read a page, like you should be able to sort of see through the section a little. That's how you know the color is going to be able to get through that other side. And you want to think of thickness here, like saturate those babies, those gray hairs, really get them covered. So we're talking like Greek yogurt, icing on a cake. You want to be able to see it nice and thick on top of the hair.
One of the other things I love about doing the perfect pair, the color and the gloss at the same time, is that you don't have to worry about running out of color because you're truly just doing your roots.
That's right.
If I were to be doing my entire head of hair with color, which I wouldn't do, but if I had to do that, I would probably need 2 bottles, which I believe we sell at Madison Reed for people with thick or long hair.
Yes.
But Siobhan, can you remind me like when people should just be doing their roots and when they should actually be doing all over color?
Yes, 100%. So here's the rule about this. You're really only ever going to use permanent color all over your head, roots to ends, if you are coloring for the first time. So you have what we call virgin hair and you need to color it to get started on coloring. That would be one. The other would be if you're making a color change. So let's say here I am with my light brunette hair and I want to go to a red. I'll need to do my first red all over to make me a red. After that, I'm maintaining with roots and gloss. So the danger with doing permanent all over every time is you're adding more and more mileage to all this hair. Every time you're coloring your roots, you're coloring brand new hair. So it's going to come out dimensional, pretty, soft, perfect. This hair that has color on it, as you keep piling on the color over the years, it gets kind of dark, inky, opaque looking, and starts to not be as vibrant and multidimensional as the top. And maybe many of you have experienced that, where your hair's looking beautiful from here down, and then the further down you go, it's kind of looking muddy or dark or just not as pretty and vibrant as it used to. That might be color buildup. So that's why we try to have women really focus on roots and gloss, this perfect pair, not pulling color through. That was a great question, Suzanne. That's a really important distinction.
Well, I know my hair is definitely not virgin.
Yeah.
After coloring for so long, and that's one of the reasons why I love gloss, is that you get that little boost of color and shine without adding any color buildup.
Well, and it's actually, gloss is perfectly designed that way. It's designed to be used on colored hair, so hair that's already got color on it through that mid-lengths and ends. And if we think about it, just what Susanna's you're doing today, right? You're going in with permanent color, you're going in to cover the grays. There's plenty of them. We need a different type of product for this than we do through the mid-lengths and ends. So if your hair's already colored, we need to treat it gently. We need to just add shine. We don't want to add a lot of depth, but we do need to add color to it so that it looks beautiful, glossy, and all the wonderful things that we love about coloring our hair. So it makes perfect sense to use the perfect pair, because you've got something that's targeting the root area and something that's targeting your ends.
And I think what most people don't realize, and I actually didn't know until I started working for Madison Reed, is that when you go to the salon to get your hair colored, what they're actually doing is they're putting permanent color on your roots and gloss on your ends. They're not usually putting color all over.
And that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm.
So what colorists often will do is, and you don't know about what's happening because it usually happens at the basin when you're not looking, when you're having your chat, you don't really think about what's going on. And that's one of the great things about Madison Reed, because we really try and bring those salon secrets and the salon colorists into your house and put them in your hands. So that's a great way of being able to achieve those types of results.
So Susanna, can I ask you really quick before you finish this quadrant here?
Yeah.
I want to take a question from the audience, but while I'm doing that, would you switch over to bowl and brush and just show that? Janine, is that what you were waiting for? and you do that. I'm going to talk over it because I'm going to take a question, but you'll be able to see exactly what Susanna's doing. And she's just putting that pre-mixed color right in there, and show them how much color you put on the tint brush.
I usually put like that.
Yep.
And the great thing is, it's really not drippy. It's not going to make a big mess. And you definitely feel, and again, you can use the pointy end of it to section, just like I was using the applicator nozzle. And you do feel a lot snazzier doing this, I will say. And
I will tell you, when this is really helpful is when you have hair, like for instance, highlighted hair, or like Regina, it looks like you have a little bit lighter toward the bottom. When you do your roots, you might not want to be darkening. The brush helps you stay really specific, right? So you're using the bristles to place the color only where you want it. And you can do that with the bottle as well, but I think the brush just makes you a little bit more precise because you're working with a tool. Okay, now I know Nancy has been waiting forever for a question. So Susanna's going to start doing the back of her hair. We're going to take Nancy's question and then move on to the back of Susanna's hair. So Nancy, I'm going to ask to unmute you. Nancy, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We hear you. That's the question.
Okay.
That's what I meant to ask. Hi.
Hi. Sorry, I'm in my husband's truck, so it's funky lighting.
Oh, that's okay. We'll tell her on the go.
All I wanted to know, I'm glad you're doing Umbria because I do Umbria too, so that's really helpful. Do you need to? It sounds like you do need to use a gloss every time.
Okay, that's a really, really good question. Oh, I see you now. Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so gloss fades out of the hair really gradually over the course of 6 to 8 shampoos. So by the time you're coloring your roots again, the gloss will be out. So
Okay.
yes, I think if you're doing your roots, there's no downside to putting the gloss on. The
Okay.
gloss doesn't work with an activator. It never dries the hair. It doesn't open the cuticle layer of the hair. It's like a veil of tinted shine treatment that goes on the outside of the hair. So there's no overuse. So you may as well just go ahead and gloss every time you roots because your hair is just going to be happier and prettier for it. And there's no downside really.
Awesome. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
That was a wonderful question. Thanks.
No problem.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to turn around. Hopefully you guys direct me, if you can't see what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I tend to not worry too much about the back because I can't see it, but I know most people are a little bit more, they want to do a better job than I do. So I sort of section up like this in little layers like this.
So going horizontally across with the nozzle and then folding it.
I know
Okay.
Other people do a center part in the back of their head, and sometimes I finish with a little center part.
This is actually perfect. So when Susanna's doing the front and she's doing those horizontal sections from her hairline, she's going back over her ear. So she's getting sort of that back center section. And this part that she's doing is kind of like the mohawk section down the center of her hair to get what falls over. That's perfect. And then massaging in with the fingertips helps you do it by a sense of feel a little bit.
And
That's great.
I'm a hair toucher. I'm always flipping my hair, so I don't really have one specific part. So I don't know. I'm a Virgo, but apparently I'm pretty messy as I'm going. I realize I'm not exactly as perfectionist as I think I am, but so I
think the way that you're doing it, Susanna, with the bottle, with the applicator, is you're actually contacting the applicator on your scalp. You can in fact feel exactly what's going on, and that's how we generally will advise people to do the back of their head, to do it by feel. So you know your own head, you know better than anyone. You wash your hair, you section your hair, you blow dry your hair, so you'll know by feeling exactly where that color's going, because not only can you feel the tip of the applicator, but you can also feel kind of a cold type of feeling when the color's on your head, so you'll know where it is. Right. There's actually the only thing you can do is not put enough color on. So anything that you do up until that point, so as long as you put plenty of color on, you work it through, massage it, as you can see Susanna's doing, it'll be good.
And then when I think I'm done, I sort of go back to the areas that I know I have the most gray. And I just add a little bit more if I have some, which I do. So that crown is where I get my most. And then I put it around my hairline now that I'm going more gray there. Thanks, 2020.
Well, and I think at this point, sometimes those grays, they can pop out, can't they? Yeah. So you actually see them coming through the color. That's the point, to get the color on and just slap them down. That's how you're going to get those covered. So you go for it, Susanna.
And then we, at Madison Reed, we call, your little stripe of gray, we call it your wisdom stripe. So I go back over my wisdom stripe, because that's the smart thing to do. And then,
you know, again, I think everybody knows where those difficult bits are. I know for me, it's behind my ear here. And that's quite a common place for people to have grey. So I make sure I zap those as well as zapping this front bit. And they don't get any less, do they?
no.
So Susanna, before you move on to gloss, I know we have quite a few people wanting to ask questions, and I do want to head over to some Q&A, but I want to do a quick call out about what you're going to see Susanna do in case we're talking over the action. So I kind of want to just prepare you for what Susanna will be doing while we do some Q&A. So what you'll notice is she's now going to use color reviving gloss on the mid-lengths and ends of her hair. So all the stuff that's dry, that's down from the roots on down to the ends, she's going to use the gloss. And you can put this in your hands and sandwich your hair in and do it that way, or you can put it straight on the hair. What I want you to sort of be mindful of is she's going to start right where the hair is dry, so kind of off the root. So her color is wet from the root to, you know, an inch or two down. And then that's where she starts the gloss. So it's okay if they touch a little bit. Don't stress out about that. Don't think that there's anything bad is going to happen. You're fine. They just shouldn't overlap too much. You just don't want to put the gloss right on over that permanent color because it'll dilute it. But it's okay if they bump into each other. It's not a big deal. They're meant to work together, and that's just fine. And then she's going to work it in with her fingers, kind of massaging it in.
I also want to interrupt really quickly and say that because I just finished my permanent color on my roots, this is when I look at the clock and I start my timing. So
Yes.
That's another question I think people often have with coloring their hair. How do you know when to start your timing? Start it after you finished your application with the perfect pair. Start it after you finished your application of your permanent color on your roots. So I have stubborn grays, so I go for 45 minutes. So I'm going to look at the clock and realize, okay, that's when I start. And now I'm just going to start squeezing the gloss. I squeeze it right into my gloved hand. And then I just take it. And like Siobhan said, it's very imprecise, and it's just about running it through your hair.
Yep. And just to go back to the timer thing, it's anywhere from 35 to 45. So if you don't have that much gray, or your gray is on the softer side, let's say less than half your hair is gray, 35 is fine. 45 is for more gray, resistant gray. And let me tell you something, it doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get your color on. That's built into the assumption, okay? So even if you take 20 minutes to put your hair color on, it's 45 minutes from when you're done putting it on the roots. It's not gonna over darken, nothing weird is gonna happen. We know that it's gonna take you some time to get your color on. So don't feel like you're racing against the clock from when you start applying, okay?
Perfect. Can I just jump in here, because we've got some questions coming from Facebook Live, because you know we're being joined by people from Facebook. So hey there, everyone who's watching us on Facebook, we're very happy to have you. So somebody asked, when will we start applying the color? Does it need to be on washed hair for the best take of color? So we did in fact answer this question, that usually when we apply color, we're applying it to hair which is 1 or 2 days old. So in other words, you washed your hair yesterday or you washed your hair the day before. What we really need to do is to make sure that there's no styling products on the hair. So not so bad if you use hairspray or, you know, styling mousse, that kind of thing. Just give your hair a good old brush. If you're using wax, that's a different story. So that can in fact stop color from taking. So make sure that there's no wax on your hair. If you do use wax, try and wash your hair and leave it for a day without using the wax, and then go ahead and color it. So I just realized
as I'm squirting this, the bright blue color might worry some people. I'm sorry, it's purple. And don't let it worry you. That's not the color that's going to be applying on my hair. It's actually, this neutralizes the brassiness like I was talking about.
We did get one other question that I want to address, and we get this question every single time we go live, and it is, what color is on Susan's head? It is our question. So this particular time, she used Verona 6 NAC. That's a medium chocolate, beautiful brunette, as you can see. And what gloss did you use, Amaretto?
I did use Amaretto, so I'm leaning in so you can have a proper look.
Yeah.
So my roots are desperate, so don't look too much there. They really need doing. But so what I did was I used the brunette color, and then I've got light works through the hair. And those of you who are serial colorists and come to our house parties all the time will have seen me apply that to my own hair. So light works is a form of balayage, which if you have brunette hair or any hair color and you want to have some lighter pieces like I do, that's a great way to introduce them. So we use the light works. Obviously, then I've got lighter pieces. Those lighter bits are what we can use to color with gloss. So when I did my roots with brunette, the chocolatey brown, the 6NAC Verona, I then put amaretto gloss through the mid-lengths and ends. And then I do have a little secret to share with you, because I did in fact color my hair before coming on the screen tonight, because I wanted to look gorgeous, at least above the hairline. So what I did was I used this, which is our latest product. It's called Color Therapy, and that's because it treats your hair. It's actually a conditioning mask with color in it. So that is the perfect one for me, because I can refresh my color and make it look nice and shiny at the same time. So now you all know my secrets above the hairline.
Perfect. Okay, let's hear from Teresa. All right, Teresa, I'm going to ask to unmute you. Hi.
Hi. The question I have is, I'm currently using Modena Brown, and I have a lot of gray.
Okay.
And my question is, do I need to stick to the N series colors for gray, or can I use other colors that will cover gray?
Okay, amazing question. So the shade that Teresa is using is a medium to dark brunette, and it's for maximum gray coverage. When you look at our website and the colors that are being recommended, if it's got an N in the title, like yours says N, N indicates how much gray coverage there is. So yours has the max. You could absolutely use something that's an NGV or an, natural golden, natural mahogany. Just use small sections, leave it on 45 minutes, really saturate. They all have up to 100% gray coverage. The triple N series that you're using is just more specifically meant for resistant, but they all will cover gray if they have an N in the title.
Okay.
So you have some freedom to play around.
And I'm also using the amaretto gloss as well.
Beautiful. I love that one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Great.
And
So
if you want to color match, specifically email me after and we can talk.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Teresa.
right, good luck, Teresa. I'm going to switch to Janine. Janine Karam, I'm going to ask to unmute you. I think you have a question. You've been waiting, my darling, haven't you? Oh, I think you're not quite unmuted. Can we unmute Janine? Unmute. Can I unmute you? There we are.
There you go.
Ah, fantastic.
So I've been coloring my hair for years by myself.
Fabulous.
And I've been using professional products, which I love, Goldwell, and I've had great success. But I want to try your products, and I did. I tried the Navarro for fun, and I loved that. It's Navarro, I think, right? 6NAA, something like that. It's a beautiful color, gorgeous.
Well, thank you very much.
It's a very beautiful color. It didn't cover all my gray, so next time I'll do maybe an extra 15 minutes. That's what they told me to do.
Yes.
I just did 30 minutes. I didn't use the hat. I also used half the tube, because usually I use 20 ml, 25 ml. So I think I have to use the whole thing. Anyways, my question for you is, can I mix that color with something else? Are we allowed to mix colors?
Okay, that's a great question. And now, I'm a colorist and I mix colors all the time. But what I will say to you is, when you are going to do that, first of all, you don't need to do that with Madison Reed, because as a colorist, those have been made, all of the shades have been made to mixed colors already together. So in a salon, you would see, and you have yourself, Janine, because you've colored your own hair for so many years, I'm sure you've had a little dabble and you've mixed with lots of stuff. And that's what they do in the salon. So what we've done with Madison Reed Color is we've taken that work away from you. You don't need to do that because not everybody's quite as adventurous as you are, my love. So that's the first thing. Secondly, when we do mixing, and obviously I'm only speaking for myself, and what we should be doing is not mixing between brands. So even within the Madison Reed, we tend not to encourage mixing. So when you go to color bars, you know, we have something which is brand new that we do include in a mix. That's kind of an optional thing, but that's something separate. So I won't get confused with that. If you wanted to mix some Goldwell, for example, I'm sure you've got some knocking around in your cupboard, and then you think, oh, you know what, I'll put some of that in Madison Reed. Don't do that. And here's why. Because Madison Reed is specifically designed, and I know very well, to do a certain job. Goldwell's designed to do something different. And if you're mixing those two together, sometimes they can counteract, sometimes they can not support each other. And you can often have, because in the end, we're dealing with things that are fairly active hair color, right? When we mix it, we have to use it, we can't keep it. So because the product is active, we need to make sure that we're treating it carefully. And by mixing it, sometimes we can unbalance the pigments, sometimes we can unbalance the formula, sometimes we have, even with a different activator, we can have a different result. So I would say, although it goes against the grain a bit, because I do like a bit of a mixing myself, stay away from mixing a brand with another brand. Okay, great question. Fabulous. Thank you for that. And it's wonderful to see you here, Janine, and wonderful that you're so experimental because I love it.
That was awesome. That was a great question, Janine. And the other thing too that I wanted to kind of call out to, and it's great because we're at this place with Susanna right now, is, you know, you mentioned not using the plastic cap, and I understand sometimes people like may or may not want to, but that's really a good tool for ensuring better gray coverage. Because if you've ever been in a salon and you see sometimes they'll put you under heat or something, we don't use heat and we don't need it with our color. That plastic cap helps to trap in some of the scalp heat that your body's naturally creating, warms up the color, gets it cooking, and will help your gray coverage. So if you've had gray coverage issues in the past and you're not using the cap, definitely use it because it's there to help keep you tidy, but also helps the gray coverage too. That was really a good question. Okay, who do we have next? Give me 1 second here. Linda, I'm gonna ask to unmute you.
Oh, there you are.
Okay, so I have blonde hair that is highlighted. And sometimes if I am at a salon, they'll ask me if I want gloss, and they'll give me the option of either a clear gloss or a colored gloss. What's the difference, and which do you prefer going to, or how do you decide?
Fantastic. Okay, great. So we do too have a clear gloss, and I would think of this like a top coat for your nails, or like, okay, a clear gloss is like chapstick, right? You put it on your lips, you don't even know it's there, you don't see it other than that it shines. A tinted gloss like the crema that Susanna used, that's like a tinted gloss where it's still see-through, meaning it's going to respect the variation of your hair. When you put gloss on your hair, the parts that are darker blonde toward the top are going to stay darker blonde with this new tone, and the lighter bits from the highlights will stay lighter. So it's translucent, but it's offering your hair a tonal difference. So if what you struggle with is yellow, like a lot of blondes, they struggle with yellow. Their hair gets yellow over time. They want it more neutral. That's what that purple looking crema gloss will do. And then there's a champagne-y beige one called Prosecco, and it does the opposite. It offers your hair a little bit of a golden tone. So, and I love that one too. It kind of looks like kids, you know how children naturally highlighted blonde kids, they have that perfect champagne-y color. That's what that will do. So they're not going to darken you, either of them, but one of them is going to give you a little bit of a less yellow cool down tone, and one is going to offer a bit more gold. And then if you don't want any of that and you just want the shine, clear is a great choice for you. And the clear from our line is called Glassa. So it's like glass with an A on the end. Good question. Great question, Linda. And if you again, if you want to email at the end for a specific, I'll give you a specific recommendation too. That was a great question.
Wonderful. So I wonder if we can take Annette. You've been waiting so patiently, my darling. I know I can see your hair and it looks lovely. I love that color.
Thank you.
Tell us, what's your question?
Well, I have to tell you, my husband cut and colored my hair the other day.
Wow.
Yeah, and he is not a professional, but I'm not going to
Great.
So my question is, this is the first time I've used Madison Reed, and you could see how short my hair is. I can't part it, you know, the way Susanna did or anything. So basically, he just rubbed it in.
Mm-hmm.
But I have some leftover, and we put it in the fridge. But I don't know if it's gonna, you know. So I mean, should I use the whole bottle the next time? The whole application?
That's a great question, Annette, because for somebody like you that has short hair, you don't need the whole bottle. Unfortunately, once it's mixed, even if you put it in the freezer, you won't be able to use it again because it has a finite life. So the secret is don't mix all of it if you don't think you're going to need all of it. So the easiest way to do that is to use a bowl and brush and to squeeze out half of the tube of color, and then to invert the applicator flask so that the activator goes to the bottom, and then you can look at that and use half of the applicator. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
will the rest of it save then?
Yes, and then you can pop your top back on the color, and you can put your activator. Just keep it in a cool place. Here in Texas, obviously, it's hot through the summer, so we don't keep stuff in the garage. But just keep it in a cool place, and then it'll be good to go by the time you come to do your next color. And that's a great way of being able to work with short hair. And yeah, absolutely, just put plenty of color on. No need to section. Just go for it.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
That was a really good question. We get that one a lot. Do I have to use all of it? That was very good. Thank you, Annette. All right, moving on down. Joyce, you're next. I'm going to ask to unmute you.
Oh, Joyce.
Hi, Joyce.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking my call. So really quickly, I have previously been going to the Aveda salon to get three-quarter head highlights, and my last highlight was in February, so I have a lot of growth. I recently purchased the balayage kit. So my question is, can I achieve the traditional highlight look using the balayage kit? And you can see that I'm Asian, so my hair is, black.
Sure. Yep.
But I was getting, the kind of the warm caramel color highlights.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Now, were you getting foils before?
Yes.
Okay. So they were going all the way up to the scalp.
Yep.
Okay. So the Lightworks balayage system is going to be a little bit different. So these highlights aren't intended to go up to the scalp. They're actually intended to be that softer kind of grown in, hand painted off the scalp, more saturated down toward the bottom. And you'll see, and do go back to go on YouTube. All of our pre-recorded hair color house parties are on YouTube, and we did, and just type in balayage and you'll find me and Susan doing it on ourselves, so you can see exactly, that'll be helpful, how to paint them on. But they will be slightly off the root, more saturated toward the bottom. And yes, because you're starting on darker hair, really good call out, the highlights will be a caramel brunettish color. They won't be blonde, but it sounds like that's what your expectation is as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you'll want to put it on nice and thick because it's a clay based and it air processes. So you don't want to have it on too thin and have it dry out quick. And, but when you go to that archived video in YouTube, you'll see all of that. And that'll be a really like easy passport for you.
Okay, so is it more like the ombre look, so to speak?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's, yeah, exactly.
And will you be giving out the email address? Because I know I will have some additional questions.
Of course. It's going to be on like a card at the very end of the show. It'll be up.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
You guys
Joyce.
are the best tonight. You guys are asking the best questions ever. These are great. You got to record them.
So can we go to Margaret? Margaret, I'm going to ask to unmute you. I know that you've been waiting super patiently, my darling. Are you there? Are you there? Hello.
Hello.
I've been looking at you the whole time.
Thank you. I have not colored my hair myself before since the 1970s, and I've ordered my Madison Reed, which I haven't gotten yet. And I do have very long hair, and it's very many colors right now. And I'm planning on doing the color over the whole head. And I ordered 2 bottles. So then the question is, if you do the whole permanent color, would you do the gloss? It looked like Susanna put that on everywhere when she was done.
Yeah.
I just was confused about that.
Yeah. So tell me what color you've ordered, my darling.
My goodness. I'm not even sure I can remember. Let me see if
So is it darker than what you're seeing right now? Is it darker than your end? Yeah, okay.
I believe
perfect.
so.
Yeah, so lovely. Okay, so because you're doing a change of color and you're adding color and you want to go all over darker, that's why you need to do it on all over. And that's one of the only occasions that we would recommend putting permanent color on all over. So it's the first time you've used Madison Reed, you'll be good to go. What we need to do is get you all kind of at the beginning, if you like. Now, what will happen is, and you know because you've been coloring your hair in the past, as your hair washes and wears, the hair color will lighten through the ends. And I think we all know that, you know, even if we would like it to not happen, it's going to happen. Even natural hair is lighter at the ends. And in fact, that's a good thing, because if your hair was natural, it would be lighter and warmer through the ends. And that's the type of result that we're looking for, because we want something to look natural, very pretty, like it could be there on its own. And that's why we recommend using gloss when you then go in and touch your roots up next time.
Okay.
So just like what Susanna did, and with my hair, and you can see that, you know, obviously I've used Lightworks, and you can see that it's lighter through the mid-lengths and ends, and it's darker through the roots. And that's what makes it look like it could be there on its own. It's not, but it could be, because being lighter on the ends and darker at the roots, that's how we get that kind of lived-in look. And in fact, that's much more today's type of look than the conventional highlights that we've all been very used to seeing from the roots, and, you know, all kind of like that. So this is a much softer, freer, younger looking approach to hair. So this time around, do exactly as you've been told. We're not always good at doing what we're told, but I know that you will be in this case. And then next time around, you'll be able to go in and work with a gloss. Do your roots just like Susanna has done with permanent color, and put the color reviving gloss through the mid-lengths and ends. So you'll have fun to play.
Okay.
And don't forget, when you're on the website, have a look for the color therapy, because that's a great way to help to maintain that color, especially if you've got existing color like you have. It's a really good way to refresh that, keep it looking good, Margaret. Okay, thank you. Great question. Do we have time for more? Siobhan, unmute yourself, darling.
Sorry. Rookie mistake there. Yes. Okay. We've got time for one more, and we're going to go with Sharon. She's next in line. So Sharon, I'm going to ask to unmute you. Here we go. Hi.
Let's see. I think that works.
Yeah. Gotcha. Hey.
Can you use this on your eyebrows? And how do you do that? And how long?
Very good. Very good. You don't, for no time, you're not supposed to do it, because it's not safety tested to be used that way. So we don't recommend any of our products to be used on eyebrows or eyelashes at all. But I will tell you, what is amazing as an eyebrow filler from Madison Reed is the Root Touch-Up Powder. It's super soft and natural looking, and it's meant to complement hair color. So it ends up that your eyebrows and your hair color are really nicely matched. It's a super soft, pretty coverage. So don't use the permanent color or any of the color products on the eyebrows, but do use the powder.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was a great question. Once again, we're on a roll here on the good questions.
Can we have Regina? I think Regina's next in line. We've got time for one more. I think we might have time for you, Regina, if you're quick.
Okay, I'm very quick.
There you are.
Hi.
Gorgeous hair.
I've never colored my hair ever, ever. I go to a salon about every 6 weeks, and I get a single process, mostly to cover the gray. This time I spoke to a few friends of mine who ordered Madison Reed previously, and I ordered Sicily, which seemed the closest to my color. I didn't order the gloss, but I did order the Hydra Boost. Now, my colorist normally covers the grays in all the sections. And then what she does at the ends, before she washes it out, she pulls it through. Now, number one, can you do that? And number two, how do you use the Hydra Boost?
Okay, perfect. I'll take the first, Siobhan, if you take the second.
Sure.
So this is what I would recommend to you, my darling. Pop the color on your roots, and you've got gray hair, right?
Oh, yes.
Have you got gray? Yeah,
all
perfect.
in the right here, all over here.
Marvelous. So put the color on your roots. I would give it 45 minutes on the roots. And then what I would do is hop in the shower. And because you've got a ton of hair, you will have put plenty of color on your roots. So make sure that you put plenty on, because that's a great way to get the coverage. Do what Susanna did. Go over it once, then go over it twice. Okay. Leave it 45 minutes, set your timer, read a book, jump in the shower, and then add some water to that color on your head. And I want you to pretend you're shampooing your hair, but you're not. So put some water on, get your gloves, and massage the whole thing. So you're going to massage it off your scalp, work around the hairline, really, shampoo your hair like it was your last shampoo. And then in the process of doing that, you'll be taking the color through to the mid-lengths and ends. The reason why I'm saying that to you is because on those ends where your hair's already colored, it is what we call porous. So what that means is that your hair's very absorbent. And that's part of the reason why we recommend gloss, because gloss won't make your hair dark, it won't damage, it won't do anything, apart from give you, almost like lip gloss, a nice tinted shine shield. So by wetting your hair first, massaging the color off your scalp, and then leaving it through the ends, you're in essence diluting that color from your roots, so it cannot grab and go dark on the ends. So that way you'll keep the ends lighter, but you'll have the conditioning benefits and the shine of having the color through your ends. And so I would do that. I'd leave it for 5 minutes. So you kind of have to stand there a bit, doing whatever you do.
Whatever.
And then rinse and rinse and rinse, and then shampoo. And then I think probably the Hydra Boost, Siobhan.
Yeah. So that's a great question. So what Regina's asking about is this deep conditioning treatment that we have, and they're called Pro Boosts, and she's using the one in Hydrate for moisture. You're just going to use it in place of your normal conditioner. So after you've done what Susan has said, and then you've shampooed, give a little bit of a squeeze. You don't have to towel dry it or anything, but get kind of a bit of the water out. Put that Hydrate on, wait 5 minutes or as many minutes as you have, but it only takes 5. And that's the hydration deep conditioning. And I recommend, if you can tolerate it, to rinse your hair with cool water afterward, because that really seals.
Oh, I always get a cold rinse.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I always get.
That's what you want to do. Great question. Amazing. Okay, Heidi, I think we are at time.
All right, so thank you, everyone. We are going to first announce our winner of our free Radiant Cream Color Kit plus Gloss, and it's going to Janine Karam. Look at that face. So Janine,
so funny.
I love that, her smile. Please email us. I will share with you right now where to email, and we will send you the stuff, send you your prize. But don't mix your color, remember. So Now for email, this email is also for anybody who has additional questions. Joyce, I know you had questions about balayage. Use this email, haircolorhouseparty@madison-reed.com for additional questions. And Siobhan, who is one of our colorists, will be personally answering those questions. So, you know, you might want to say, hi, I'm Joyce. I'm the one that asked about balayage, that sort of thing. That will help her kind of remember who you are. We will be sending before and after pictures to you today of Susanna's before and Susanna's after. So check your inboxes for that. And last but not least, we are going to be having our final hair color house party of 2020 on December 16th at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's a Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, again on December 16th. And in celebration of it being our last hair color house party and it being December, we are going to be giving out multiple giveaways throughout the event. We have Ulta gift cards, we have Madison Reed gift cards, we have a Rebecca Minkoff purse to give away. It's gifts for everyone. So mark your calendars, December 16th, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, from our homes to yours, happy coloring and have a great night. Bye.